Hey YouTube fam and friends and strangers, it's Kat here on this beautiful March rainy day. I decided to do a parent education piece or caregiver education piece, anyone who takes care of children. It's also good information for everyone. It's about how to protect children from predators, and I have 3 things that I'd like to say. The first is never label your children's items with their name, address, or phone number. It takes a split fraction of a second for a predator to have just a little bit of pull to coax or to have that second where he or she can take that child. If the child in any way thinks that that stranger, that predator, is going to have any sort of knowledge of their name, it might confuse them. They might think they should know them. They might trust them. You know, on YouTube, it's all about transparency. And so I will share a story. And when I was 12, I was walking to my friend's house and a man rolled down his window, just a crack, to ask me directions. And I couldn't hear and I knew not to get close. So I just stepped a little bit closer and said, "What?" And then he flew open his door and he lunged out and he attempted to kidnap me. And I was able to get away. And I was able to quickly go up the street more, and he moved out of the parking space where he was parked, and he followed me. And I realized he was slowly pacing and following me. I crossed the busy intersection, and he U-turned it, and he started following me on the other side. And it was a very busy but safe area that I was walking in, and so what I ended up doing is I ended up going in and out of different streets, and where these particular homes are, where my friend lived, they had alleys in between. So I could cut in and out, and I hid behind a side house bush for a while until I felt enough time has passed. And then I went to my friend's house and reported it. So I was 12. If that man, that predator, had known my name, that could have been just that quick snap of a moment where I would not be here doing this today. I can still remember the car, his face. It was back in, it was 12, so it was back in 1981, 1980. I don't remember the part of the year, but it was the year of 1980 to 81, the same year as Kevin Collins, I believe. But I can just, in my mind and in my brain, I can revisit it as if it was yesterday. And it changes you completely. Believe me, it was a finger snap difference for me in how I viewed the world. So I was only 12. And so just to let people know, do not put a name. When I was a teacher for 10 years, with all the students I had, what I did for my students as well as my children growing up is I had the parents put a symbol. It could be a heart, a star, it could be, it could be anything, a tree, a butterfly, a worm, but some sort of symbol represented that child. So if their coat or jacket or their lunch pail got lost, we knew that that symbol represented them. And so do not let your clothing items, do not let their lunch boxes, do not let their backpacks, nothing with a name, even like a necklace that has a first letter on the name or a charm, I would not do if I had young children. For instance, if it was the letter X, how many children have X? And somebody could go, Javier, Xavier, right? Because there's few names that begin with X. So don't risk it. Addresses, phone numbers, well, how do they reach you if your child's lost? Any adult, just call 911. If you find a lost child, call 911. They do not need to know your address or phone number. The police will help find that information out. And if your child's old enough, hopefully they'll know. And if they're not old enough, the parents are going to put in a call to the police, and the police will be looking for that kid. So do not put address. Then they know where your kid lives, especially if it's a predator that's a stalker predator. It's not just someone looking for someone in the moment, but someone that's going to stalk that child. You do not want their address, and you do not want your phone number on there. They can also do spyware with a phone number, and they can see where the parents or parent or guardian is located if they're out of the house. It's sad to have to think about these things, but it is a reality. As an adult, I went into being a certified sexual assault counselor for the state of California. And I worked with Rape Trauma Services in San Mateo County, and we bridged with the San Mateo Police Department for the sexual assault response team. And I helped numerous individuals who have been not treated correctly, is how I will put it, who were survivors of treacherous crimes. And I've worked with the perps, with the people who've done these crimes. And so, yeah, just be aware, it's all over. The second thing I'd like to say, besides not giving a name, phone number, or an address in any of your child's items, is to have a code word. I had a code word with the kids that I taught. I have a code word with children that I take care of today, and I had a code word with my sons growing up. If you go to a park, it's normal for a child to say that, say, oh, it's time to go, and they want 5-10 more minutes, or they, have a hard time coming to the car, and you gotta be creative, right, in rallying the kids up, especially if you have more than one. However, if there's a code word, I make it clear to every single child I've ever taken care of that this is an emergency word, and the word I say means there's no 5 extra minutes. I'm not feeling comfortable, or I'm feeling unsafe, or there is a reason we need to come. Emergency. It's not a word like emergency, come here right away. I'm not going to share my word on here, but let's just say it's sour lemons could be an example. Like, if you say sour lemons, that means come immediately. And I let all the children I take care of, we will discuss why I said the emergency word once we get to the car. And I let them know to use that word too. So I make it a word that the children can remember and that I can remember, and that's unique. If you're going to say red apple, right? Well, it could be about eating lunch and a red apple, or there could be a tree with red apples. So make it unique, but something you can remember and the kids can remember, and let them know that's a time that we don't compromise. If you're going to, as a child, tell me sour lemon, then I know, okay, I need to just leave with this child, and we will talk about why they felt uncomfortable later. You don't want to lag around. You don't want to let a predator know. You don't want to upset somebody to where they feel insulted, and you don't want to be followed out of the parking lot. So just have a keyword and let them know. The third thing I'd like to say is have a meeting spot. It's critical. So whenever I go in a department store, or whenever I go to an amusement park like Disneyland, I always have the children that I'm with know, if you get lost, we are going to meet here. You can, if you feel comfortable, say, you can find somebody who works there and with a name tag. But predators are clever, and they dress up in false disguises. They dress up as if they're emergency crew. They dress up as if they're, as if they work. It's easy to get a name tag. It's easy to get a vest. They can pretend that they work there. So have a meeting spot. This happened to my youngest son. My 2 sons and I and my sister were leaving Disneyland, and I want to say they were maybe 4 and 6. And my youngest son, we were all leaving at the end of the night. It was a huge crowd, and I had our meeting spot at the beginning of the day. If we get separated, we will meet here, find here. And sure enough, it was a snap, and he was gone. And I'm like to my sister, where'd he go? We were all packed together. We were all walking out at the same time, but it was so crowded. And it was fast. And so I immediately went with my sister and my other son back into the Disneyland. We had already left into the parking lot. We went back through the gates. I explained what happened. I went to the meeting site and my son was there. Thank you, Jesus. It was scary and it was fast and it was dark and there were so many people. So, you know, unfortunately, we have to think outside of our mind of people who wouldn't do these kind of things, what someone may or may not do. I'm sure a lot of people know that, you know, a predator isn't necessarily someone who's a stranger. There's definitely people within a family that are have predatory nature. These three things, though, are for someone who would not know your child. And I'll give a fourth little thing. I mean, there's GPS now. And if my kids were young, I would be tracking them with their backpack. I would let them know because I believe in trust and letting a child know, especially as they get older. I want them to think, oh my goodness, you know, my mom or my dad is tracking me, and for sake of privacy, it's not about the kid. And I always told my kids, like, growing up, I trust you. It's the other people in the world we have to be careful of because you just don't know. So my children grew up very aware. And yeah, so if there's GPS tracking systems now, and just to not break that trust with your child, especially if they're a teenager, you know, I would definitely let my kids, they're older, they're grown men now, but I would let them know and say, hey, I'm putting this on only because I am concerned about strangers. And that way you have a bridge of relationship, and it's not something where you're following them and then they feel they have to hide their backpack or phone or whatever and leave it at a friend's house and really be somewhere else. So I hope this helps somebody out there. I know I'm being a little vulnerable sharing what happened to me when I was 12, but if it saves one life, it's worth it. So we're going to go over the three one more time. Do not leave a name, address, or a phone number on any of your child's things, and do not have a meeting spot. And I'm forgetting about the other one already. Oh my goodness, I should have written it down. Have a meeting spot where you go, and yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch this video to watch the second one because right now I'm like rattling, but it's in there. So anyways, yeah. So take care, everyone, and God bless, and have a great day. Bye. Oh, code word. Have a code word. Okay, bye.